Benjamin Netanyahu warning that Israel will use what he called enormous force against Hamas, and saying the IDF's retaliation for the worst attack on Israeli soil in decades has only just begun. In Israel, somewhere around 900 people known to have died. That number will probably increase since Saturday's very surprising attack. 260 people, probably that will go up as well, killed by Hamas gunmen at a music festival. Since Israel began striking Gaza in response, somewhere close to 700 people have died on the Palestinian side, according to Palestinian officials. That includes 140 children and 105 women, and that number will also certainly go up. Hamas's armed wing has threatened to kill a hostage every time Israel carries out an airstrike without warning civilians. Dozens of people have been kidnapped by Hamas and their families. They are desperately searching for information, and Israel's defense minister has ordered, and it is being implemented, a complete siege of the Gaza Strip, which cuts off food, fuel, electricity, and water supplies. We're joined now via the telephone from Jerusalem by Dr Abeer Zayyad, who is an activist for the Palestinian cause based in Jerusalem. Abeer, good morning to you.
Good morning.
As an activist for the Palestinian cause, what were your initial responses when you became aware on Saturday that Hamas was carrying out this very, very significant attack into Israeli territory?
It was a shock for everybody, but in the same time, this is something was coming because Israel is continuous killing Palestinian every day, is attacking the most holy place for us every day. More than 600 people since the beginning of the year, before Hamas attack, from the Palestinian was killed by the Israeli, but it's of course it was not interesting for the international world about that we are losing life every day. This is something was not interesting, was not important for even the media to speak about it. So this is something was coming, and that Israel was supposed to know that when you continue killing a people, when you continue apartheid people, when you continue occupying a land, taking a land from their people, that the people will at the end will try to fight. This is something what's coming, and this is something that Israel is supposed to expect it. We are not, as a Palestinian, we have our right. We have our right to fight. We have our right to protect our lives. And Israel are killing us since years, and the national world is silent about our killing, silence about our being attacked, silence about what is happening in the most holy place for us, Al-Aqsa Mosque. And this is, of course, will at the end make the explode that it's happening now with Hamas.
But how is this going to improve the situation? In what way does this hold out hope for a better future for the Palestinian people? I mean, surely, how does killing 250 young people who dancing at a rave festival in the desert advance the Palestinian cause?
First of all these young people that you are speaking about, they are part from Israeli army. And I think you are aware about that all these people in this age are part from the army. So they are not civilians, just to clarify this as a beginning. And also, you can see that there is the videos from the civilian, really, women and children, that they are speaking that the fighter from a Palestinian, when they arrived to the houses and they found them just children and women, they did not touch them at all. So just to clarify this, but the Israeli army are bombing children and the women. So just to clarify this as beginning. And to say that this is not help, what other option they left it for the Palestinian? Since 13 years, the PLO had accept peace agreement, had accept to have negotiation, had accept a declaration of Israel. What Israel had done? Did they continue in this peace agreement? Did they stop killing the Palestinian? Did they stop taking the land. So what you are asking people that does not have any hope, what you are asking people to accept to be killing every day and not to have any reaction. This is what the international world is asking us.
But more are being killed now. And Hamas,
Anyway,
the leadership of Hamas in planning this attack must have known that they would kill this number of Israelis, and they must have known that Israel would respond the way that it did. So they did this knowing that thousands of Palestinians would die as a response.
No. If you was noticing the Israel media, because our life does not matter for the international media, maybe they did not notice that, but Israel had a clear before 1 week from this attack that after the Sukkot holiday that they are going to attack Gaza and they are going to kill the people in Gaza. They already say that before the Hamas attack. If you go back to the Israel media, you will find these news. But of course, because our life is not matter for the international world and for the international media, and is not equal to Israel's life, no one was caring about what Israel is doing. So people, Hamas had taken a reaction before what they was planning to do. So anyway, they was planning to bomb Gaza. Anyway, they was planning to whip Gaza from the world. So this is.
But I go back to my point, Abeer. This makes the situation of the people in Gaza City worse, not better.
It was already going to happen. This is what you refused to understand. It was going to happen.
There is no way that I don't believe that the Israeli army was planning to do what they are doing now.
They was announced. No, they was announced this before. You need to read the media very well. They was announcing that before, and they already since years they was asking for whipping Gaza from the world, and not only about Gaza. You need to hear what Smartish had say about the Palestinian people in the West Bank, and that they supposed to accept that they are slaves or to be killed or to be kicked out from the country. And he say exactly what now is happening. Then the international media that they will be interesting about the killing of the Palestinian maximum 1 week, and after that they forget because the Palestinian life is not matters.
What about the analysis?
And what about the killing that is happening every day in West Bank and Jerusalem? What is about it? What about our life every day? Why it's not important for the world?
What about the analysis that the reason Hamas has been planning this, and obviously has been planning this for months, is because they are concerned about the possible rapprochement between Israel and Saudi Arabia. They backed, they funded, they are supplied with weapons by Iran, which does not want...
Israel and Saudi Arabia, this thing is very, very new. I don't think that all this preparation for fighting was just because of Saudi Arabia. I don't think that at all. The main thing, and they was very, very clear about it, the main thing is the killing that is happening every day and the attacking of Al-Aqsa Mosque every day. This is what. And even with this situation, they still attacking Al-Aqsa Mosque. They still entering to Al-Aqsa Mosque. They still asking for demolishing Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is the most holy place for us.
Again, the cause of the Palestinian people and their terrible plight in Gaza City has not been helped. It will be set back.
The international media was not interesting about the killing that was happening every day in Palestine, where they was when we was killing, why our life is not matter. You are speaking from South Africa. Is it the life of black people equal to white people? Do you remember the apartheid? Why you fight against the apartheid? It was okay to stay under the apartheid system. Why you did not? Why you just fight for apartheid? This is what you are asking me. Why we are fighting against apartheid? You was in South Africa.
Apartheid ended when the fighting stopped. Well, not when the fighting stopped, but when the talking started seriously.
It ended because the apartheid stopped. So
but it didn't end. It didn't end because of military victories. It didn't end because of mass killings of people. It ended because we had the leadership that understood. Apartheid ended because we had the leadership that understood that talking had to start. Serious talking had to start. And unfortunately, it appears that in the Middle East, neither the Israelis nor the Palestinians have that leadership. What the answer is, I have absolutely no idea. But I cannot believe the kind of mass killing that we're seeing now, and we will continue to see for a while, is the solution. Dr. Abeer Zayyad, thank you for talking to us this morning, a Palestinian activist based in Jerusalem. There's lots and lots of WhatsApps coming in response to the interview with the Palestinian activist. I'm just going through them one by one. I'm not censoring anything. I'm not skipping anything unless it is using language which is not shareable on radio. I haven't sided with anyone in this war, but arguments in defense of Palestine always seem to defy logic and overflows with emotion. Without maturity of leadership on both sides, this war will never end. I will never agree with Hamas killing and kidnapping innocent civilians. I do also find it disturbing that the conflict only becomes part of public discourse when Hamas bombs or kills, says Ishmael. Gaza until now, and then I'm given a long list of destruction of Gaza buildings, Gaza City buildings carried out by the Israelis. I'm not going to go through all of them. John, talking started here when the violence was untenable and there was no option but to talk. They didn't wake up and feel like talking. The ANC was classified as a terrorist organization too not so long ago. John, what you heard was not irrationality but is pain. How terribly heartbreaking. Violence begets violence. Both sides are hurting. War, what is it good for? Thank you for that conversation. It shows the very valid anger and pain. John, listening to your interview with this lady, it's frustrating, and talking over you is not helping her case. I was talking over her as well. Can she show us the article that said they were planning to attack Gaza? Seriously, John, this woman is making me sick, just rambling on and on. Thank you for allowing a Palestinian activist to give her perspective. The issue is so complex. This has been brewing for decades. It's worth listening to live radio to hear unedited voices in real time. John, why do you work this lady up so early in the day? She is clearly extremist and blindfolded. Just what we need on a Tuesday morning, a rant from some random Palestinian woman shouting and screaming, very one-sided, as we know that Hamas too are not innocent in this ongoing conflict in Gaza. Hamas is a terrorist activity funded by Iran. I can't believe that you're giving this activist a platform. Well done, John. You've illustrated perfectly how irrational, hysterical, and extreme the Palestinians are. Was told that Israel is now using phosphorus in attacking the Palestinians. True, Israel has even put cement in Palestinians' water. Palestinians can't take it anymore. Even food has been rationed for years. Imagine just 200 calories a day. Okay, John, you did not handle that interview well today. The activist got 90% of airtime. Well, that's the idea of interviews, is that the people you're interviewing get most of the airtime. That's what an interview is. Welcome back. The question remains, how is that extremely tight security fence breached so badly with not a single military person noticing and reacting instantly as they usually do? Lots of questions. It's one of the big questions. Is Israel is supposed to have one of the best funded and most successful, most competent intelligence services on planet Earth. So how did something which must have been planned for months happen without any advance notice? Agree this attack only puts the process back many years. The person you interviewed didn't want to hear a word you said. Thank you for the interview, John. At least the people now heard what they are dealing with. Dr. Azad is passionate, and she is correct. Palestine's situation is similar to apartheid. Shame that we only believe U.S. version. I don't believe the U.S. version, not one little bit. You cannot trap the large numbers of people that are essentially trapped in a place like Gaza City, subjected to the kind of restrictions that they are subjected to, both by Hamas. The leadership of Hamas in Gaza City is hardly particularly interested in the welfare of its citizens, it seems to me, and further restrictions, serious restrictions imposed by the Israeli government. That is a kettle waiting to blow. But is what Hamas has done going to improve the situation? It's not. It's absolutely not. When you have enmity which is that number of 1,000 years old, and you have leadership which is much more interested in prolonging its own leadership rather than truly looking for peace, and what form that peace would take is beyond me, is obscured by mist and by history and by blood and by dust. But the Hamas attack on Israel was always going to attract the kind of Israeli response that has been achieved. And at the end of this, when the fighting has, if not stopped, then gone back to daily small incidents of violence, will the search for peace, for Palestinian statehood, for a decent life for Palestinians, will that cause have been advanced? The answer, as far as I'm concerned, is no. I appreciate the interview with activists. Appropriate to hear a viewpoint from a Palestinian, as it is not generally in our media. Topic is so difficult. I heard a woman who is angry and frustrated. Your point about dialogue is valid. I guess the counter-argument is that dialogue didn't work or is not happening. Israel's continued settlement expansion goes on without any media exposing why, destroying Palestinian homes to grow the Israeli state. Some voice notes as well.
Good morning, John. You know, I just want to... The hypocrisy in media is just so fantastic. You know, like everyone, whenever Palestine attacks Israel, it's always, oh, how is this going to make your situation better? Well, chances are it's not. But you're pushing people to the brink of extinction, right? So it's either fight and die or just die. But that is not actually the core issue. The core issue is, why is international law not applied equally to Israel? Why? You're pointing fingers at the victims because they are fighting back. And yet nobody seems to be telling Israel, why are you not abiding by international law? Why are you doing this? You can't be cutting off water and electricity to civilians because of militant groups. How is that in any way legal?